Everyone on X who is posting about digital IDs and central bank digital currency, vaccine passports and Agenda 2030 and the Great Reset, and that nasty little nation in the Middle East buying TikTok and shutting down accounts that dare to criticize it. In other words, everyone who is talking about the New World Order global control grid that's being completed right before our eyes in real time and is threatening to turn 2025 into 1984.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
Believes that the best way for us to stop the New World Order global control grid from being completed is to resist digital IDs and resist CBDCs and resist Agenda 2030 and resist the Great Reset. The problem is they are all dead wrong.
What?
Because what you resist persists. So if we focus on resisting digital IDs and central bank digital currencies and Agenda 2030 and the Great Reset, we are actually guaranteeing that they will happen. So in this video, I'm going to explain exactly why this is.
Okay.
And I'm going to explain the one approach we can take that will not only stop the New World Order global control grid from being completed, if enough of us adopt it in time, but will also destroy the control grid after it has been completed and we are fully imprisoned by the New World Order.
We don't believe you. We don't believe.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
The reason that you and everybody else on X is ignorant of this winning approach is because the very powers that be who are behind the New World Order global control grid have been lying to you your whole life about the nature of reality and about the nature of humanity and about how life actually works.
Please! No!
Yes!
So with the help of my friend David McEwen, let's expose the lie and tell you the truth that has been hidden from you.
So I'm going to be blunt. You've been lied to about how life and reality works. You were taught to fight the world, to hustle and grind, and to try and fix everything that was around you in order to succeed. But what if the life you are living right now, the reality that you see here, isn't life at all? In fact, it is merely a reflection. Not a random set of circumstances, not a punishment, not luck, but a mirror. A reflection. You see, everything you're experiencing, your relationships, your bank account, your struggles, your successes, is showing you. The crazy part? The people in power, the so-called elites, they were taught these things at a very young age. When they were children. They were shown this through example even when they were babies and then learned it more systematically as they got older. They were taught how to work with this mirror, not fight it. Most people spend their lives trying to fix the reflection, not realizing that it's their internal state, their inner world, their beliefs, their frequency, and their perception that's shaping what they see. And so they hustle, they grind, they force against life, all while trying to change a world that is simply reflecting back to them who they are being. This is not mere theory. This is a practical principle of the universe that provides real change in your life if you follow these teachings. A new future is always available. So it doesn't matter where you're starting when you go to apply this. The mirror principle, when applied consciously, will absolutely transform your life no matter where you are now. Now, in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what the mirror principle is, why it's one of the most powerful universal laws you've never been taught, and how to start using it consciously to create transformation from the inside out. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. So let's dive in. Now, the mirror principle is one of the most influential universal principles that's operating in your life. And if we were to say it very simply in a nutshell, it would be that the outer world follows the inner world. That is something I would definitely write down or keep in mind. Now, we're going to explain this even further. What do I mean when I say the outer world? And what do I mean when I say the inner world? So the outer world is, as you expect, it is your physical existence. It is the reflection we were talking about in the intro. All of these physical things that you perceive perceive with your five senses that create this physical experience for you. So there is a part of you that is absolutely operating from a physical perspective. So when you think outer world, it's the physical world and your physical existence, everything contained within that. The inner world, however, is basically everything else and is made up of different parts. You see, the physical is one part of yourself, and it's the part a lot of people get stuck at because they believe you're just physical, or we are just physical. But there's also the inner world part of yourself, which is made up of what we can call the mental and the spiritual part of yourself. Now, the mental is exactly as you would imagine. It is your imaginings. It is your thoughts. It is your visualizations. Anything kind of in that realm, it falls into the mental part of yourself. You have that part of yourself. It's not physical. You're having thoughts. You're able to daydream and visualize and imagine and these kinds of things. So that's one part of yourself as well that has to do with the inner world. It's not out there in the physical, at least not yet. It leads to what comes out in the physical, but for the most part, it's in that inner space. And the other part is the spiritual. And this part you can think of as your connection to everything, to your connection to something larger and more powerful, your connection to the all, infinite intelligence, God, source, whatever you want to call it. It's like your direct line to that. And you can also think of this as your emotional self. So when we say emotion, we mean energy in motion, meaning what you're feeling is activating this plane of your existence. So those emotions, those feelings, etc., are in that inner world space as well. You don't see them out here, but you feel them within. They are an inner world game. So you have the physical world, which is outer, and then the inner world, which is mental and spiritual. Now, why is it that the outer world follows the inner world, meaning the outer world comes from and is produced, is birthed from the inner world? Why is it that these two inner planes of existence, and again, this is a general kind of guide, these three parts, it's more nuanced than that, but this gives us something to work with, a framework that makes it a lot easier to think about. So why is it that the physical, the outer world, follows these two inner ones that we're calling the mental and spiritual? Well, one thing that really helps with this understanding is to recognize what our physical world is really made up of. And so all of us were taught that atoms are the building blocks of the physical world. You know, most of us learned that in school or from whoever else. But would it surprise you to learn that an atom, if you were to look at it deeply, is actually less physical, much less physical than you've been led to believe, because this is what's making up everything you see around here and in the room you're in right now, or, you know, the phone or computer you're watching this. It's made up and consists of atoms. That's what it's made up of to build whatever the physical thing is. But what if I was to tell you, and this is scientifically confirmed, that the atom itself is made up of 99.999999% empty space or energy, and 0.00001% physical matter reality. What this means is the very thing that is the building block, the foundation of what we call the physical, is in and of itself non-physical. There's even a famous scientist, I'll put the quote up on the screen, that basically says everything that is physical in our lives is made up of things that cannot be regarded as physical. I'm forgetting if it's Heisenberg or Niels Bohr or someone similar, but I'll put up the quote and the actual scientist it comes from. And this is stuff that also people like Werner Heisenberg would say, Max Planck, Nikola Tesla we know as well, that ultimately there really isn't a physical, just something that appears physical, made of things that can't actually be regarded as physical. I believe it was Max Planck who said that everything is fundamentally consciousness and that physical matter is derivative of consciousness, meaning it comes from consciousness. And that's the same thing when we're talking about empty space and energy. So why does the outer world follow the inner? Because the inner world is what's connected to that 99.9+%. That is the empty space and energy. That is what creates the physical, the outpicturing, the experience, the reflection. We'll go over a little bit more in a second how this works, but keep in mind, the outer world, your physical world, follows the inner. And that the atom, or the thing that is the building block of the things we call physical, is made up of 99.9+% empty space and energy. And a quote I always love that just kind of gives a vivid picture of this is, if you were to remove all of the empty space and energy from everyone on the planet, so every person, that's like 8 billion people, whatever the number is, and you removed all of the empty space and energy and just had that physical matter left, you would only have enough physical stuff to fit within a tiny sugar cube. That is how physical we actually are. Basically not at all.
So now you know that the nature of reality is the outer follows the inner. The visible comes out of the invisible. As within, so without. It's not so much mind over matter as matter is mind, just at a slower vibration. And now you know the truth about humanity. We are not victims of the world we see. We are the creators of the world we see.
That's what I'm talking about!
And so, if we see a world of misery and suffering and injustice and an impending new world order global control grid, it is simply because we have collectively allowed ourselves to be conditioned and programmed into the kind of selfish, controlling, fearful, judgmental, self-righteous, antagonistic, scarcity thinking that manifests in the outer world as well as the modern world.
Oh my God. I get it.
And now you know how life actually works. You can see that resisting the things we created with our dysfunctional thinking, like the powers that shouldn't be and their agenda of control, will do about as much good as trying to reach into the mirror to change the clothes you decided to wear before you stood in front of the mirror.
You were literally too stupid to insult.
So now you know the truth. The real question is, how many of us have to learn how to master our thoughts so that we can create a world of peace and justice and fairness and opportunity and love and connection and belonging and meaning and fulfillment for all?
Well, we're waiting.
Tick-tock, motherfucker!
Well, relatively speaking, not that many. Only about 10 million of us.
Really?
Or 0.125% of humanity.
No way!
That's all it will take to create a tipping point in our collective consciousness to completely transform the outer world to reflect our new inner world. So if you want to be one of the legendary 10 million heroes and heroines who save humanity from the New World Order global control grid by learning to create their own reality,
Yes!
Yup!
Yes!
Make it so.
join our free school community. The only way out is in, by clicking the link in my bio.